Hi, friends and yogis. Jenny Wise here from WiseMind Soul Warrior. So I'm just getting on here a few minutes before 10 to get started. And I am super excited to take you through this flow this morning. And I just want to take a moment to share with you before we get started. So this is actually called holy wood. And a lot of people think about Palo Santo or sage, like it's just woo woo, type stuff. But there's actually a science behind using essential oils and Palo Santo and sage. That from a yoga psychology perspective, it actually adds another layer of healing the more of the five senses that we use. So I'm just going to take a moment to, this is part of my practice, is using Palo Santo. And again, you just kind of light it. You can see me lighting it. Got to kind of wait until it gets burning. You blow on it. And then again, there is a science behind this. It's not just woo. It's actually changing your mood state. And anytime you're using Palo Santo or sage or essential oils, it sends a signal to the brain. So this is actually a yoga psychology technique that adds to your healing during your practice. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started here. Okay. So I'm going to take you through a couple minutes of how I usually start my own practice. So usually I pick some type of essential oil. So for today, I'm going to do more grounding. So usually I'll choose, do I need a more grounding or do I need a more uplifting? And as you join, let us know when you join in the comments so we can see who's here. Good morning, Stephanie, because I can't tell who's here unless you put a comment. So just let us know as you join that you're here and where you're joining us from. Thanks, Stephanie. So I was just sharing that part of my daily practice is choosing an essential oil. And again, this is not just woo. There is a science behind integrating in the five senses in yoga psychology and how potent or healing your practice is. And so today I'm actually going to choose, debating. I'm going to choose cypress, and this is a grounding oil. So if I decided that I wanted more uplifting, then I would choose wild orange. Then I'm going to choose cypress. So take a little bit of cypress, take about 3 drops of this, and rub your hands, and then you take 3 deep breaths. 3 deep breaths. And again, the advantage to the science behind it is it immediately goes to your brain and changes your brain, basically. So it's not, again, woo. I know some people think essential oils are woo or any kind of sense. Now this, what I'm doing right here, this is called resin. So I'm putting just a few drops of resin, and this is going to, you can see, you may not be able to see it, it's starting to smoke, but you can see that. And so I'll show you, this is a feather. I'm going to get started here in a minute. I'm just kind of showing you guys this. So this is a feather, a small feather that you can get. I just got this on Amazon, actually. Or I have my bigger feather that I use. This is my ceremonial feather that we use whenever we do retreats or our YTT graduations. We use this kind of ceremonial set of feathers. But the idea is that You're taking the smoke, and again, you're just kind of wafting it around yourself and over. And again, this is resin, and this is kind of part of my practice. Although I usually just use this little feather here, right? So it doesn't have to be a big ceremonial feather. I just wanted to share that with you guys because I love this thing. And I usually only use it, as I mentioned, for retreats and for YTT graduations. So I've got my essential oils, I've got my resin. As I mentioned at the beginning, I have my holy wood, my Palo Santo or sage, and now I am ready to get started. So to officially start the practice, I'm going to use the singing bowl, and I'll either use a singing bowl and ring it 3 times or the tinsy bells, and then we'll get started in our breath work and guided meditation. Then I'm going to take you through a short sequence of a slow flow that is all levels, and then we'll move into yin, some juicy yin that you're going to enjoy, and then we'll move into Shavasana. So here we go. I'm going to ring the singing bowl 3 times. So if you have not found a bolster, if you have a bolster, I would invite you to grab it. If you have a yoga blanket, I would grab that as well. You do not need a yoga blanket, but I invite you to grab one. Again, it's not necessary. We're going to use it probably in Shavasana. I have a block here. If you have not used a block, again, you might want to grab a block if you have one. And it's not necessary. That is pretty much all you need for the practice. So let's go ahead and get started. So I invite you to gently close the eyes or have a soft gaze. Start to come into the sacred space. Maybe turn up the corners of your mouth. This actually sends a signal to your brain. We call this the inner smile, and it actually sends a signal to your brain of joy, of happiness, of peace, of contentment. It actually tricks your brain. So just slightly maybe turn up the corners of your mouth. It's actually something you can do during your meditation as well. A little bit of science behind that. And then just take a moment to settle in to this beautiful Mother's Day weekend and to give yourself kudos, to give yourself credit that you have taken this time for your own self-care, for your own self-love. So just take a moment of gratitude, of appreciation that you're taking this time of stillness, living a legacy of peace. And whether you are a maternal mom, whether you are a stepmom, whether you are a fur baby mom, whether you are an aunt, whether you are a stepmom, whether you give maternal love to your friends, I wish you a Mother's Day weekend today. In all types of ways that we mother each other and we mother ourselves and we give ourselves this beautiful self-love. And so as we start to kick off this challenge going into next week around releasing self-doubt, really tuning into unconditional love for ourselves and for others, I invite you to set this intention around what do you want to let go of. Maybe it is letting go of judgment. So I want you to just take a moment to set an intention here for your practice and also throughout the weekend of maybe starting to let go of your inner critic voice and letting go of your self-judgment. So maybe it's letting go of the perfectionist. Maybe it's letting go of the imposter syndrome of who do you think you are. Maybe it's letting go of the taskmaster of never doing enough, burning yourself out. Maybe it's letting go of the conformist, of the one that we compare ourselves to everyone else instead of loving who we are uniquely as an individual. So again, I just invite you to take a moment here to set your intention. And the Sanskrit name for intention is actually Sankalpa. So letting go of judgment, non-judgment, is one of the 9 foundations of mindfulness. And we want to be able to embody mindfulness. So I want you to take a moment. I'm going to take you through a little bit of breath work here, just a short breath work of about 15 rounds of what we call 3-part breath. And 3-part breath in Sanskrit is called Dirgha Pranayama. So this is a beautiful breath for you to be sitting in a Zoom call, for those of you that work in corporate, and no one's going to know that you're doing this pranayama. You could be sitting in the parking lot on your way to the grocery store. You could be sitting in pretty much anywhere. You're sitting in your car in traffic. People aren't going to know you're doing this breath, but it is very, very extremely grounding to your nervous system. So let me take a moment to teach you this breath. We'll do about 15 rounds, and then we're going to move into our guided meditation around letting go of judgment. So at the base of the spine, we will start in the belly area, then move up into the diaphragm and then into the chest, and we pause. And then from the chest to the diaphragm to the belly. Again, from the belly to the diaphragm to the chest. We pause at the collarbone, from the chest to the diaphragm to the belly. One more time, from the belly to the diaphragm to the chest, and pause. From the chest to the diaphragm to the belly. So here we go. We're going to take that through 15 times, and our pranayama breath helps us prepare our mind and body for our meditation. So here we go. Deep inhale at the base. Diaphragm, chest. Pause at the top. Exhale, chest, diaphragm, belly. Deep inhale at the root. Come up to the diaphragm, to the chest, and pause. Exhale, chest, diaphragm, belly. Inhale, root, diaphragm, chest, pause. Exhale, chest, diaphragm, belly. Belly, diaphragm, chest, and pause. Exhale, chest, diaphragm, belly. A few more times I'm going to guide you, and then you're going to take this on your own. Belly, diaphragm, chest, and pause. Exhale, chest, diaphragm, belly. Belly, diaphragm, chest, and pause. Exhale, chest, diaphragm, belly. So take a moment here. Take 5 more breaths like that. 3-part breath, Dirgha Pranayama. Belly, diaphragm, chest, pause, chest, diaphragm, belly. Beautiful. And I want you to imagine just grounding yourself here. You can imagine the sit bones grounding, those roots going into subterranean underneath the ground. And like the yoga mat is supporting you here and grounding you, grounding the nervous system, grounding your mind and body. And part of the beautiful practice around yoga psychology and around mindfulness is we teach ourselves this mind body breath awareness, where we actually start to be able to not shift into fight or flight as often. And when we do, we're able to recalibrate our nervous system and bring us back down to grounding. Same thing when we go into emotion mind. When we get triggered, we're able to bring ourselves back to baseline much more quickly and more easily. So tune into grounding yourself here. I want you to find a comfortable meditation seat, whatever that is for you. If you need to put your legs out in front of you, that's perfectly fine. If you are comfortable in an easy seat, like I'm in, a meditation seat, just find a comfortable position where you can sit here just for a few minutes for this guided meditation. So our sankalpa, our intention of our practice, which again, I invite you to choose your own sankalpa if you choose. You simply can just choose the breath. And again, as you join us, let us know in the comments that you're here so that we can see you. So the mindfulness of judgment. We want to start to increase our awareness of all the ways that we judge ourselves and we judge others. This is the first step in releasing judgment. So non-judgment being a foundation of mindfulness. As we learn to let go of judging ourselves, we automatically let go of judging others. The more we judge ourselves, the more we judge others. So the only way to practice this concept and philosophy of non-judgment is to be authentic, coming from a place of non-judgment. So feeling shame or guilt for our human tendency to judge the world around us does not help us to overcome this habit, this samskara pattern. There's nothing wrong with us judging, but it's still worthwhile to explore this, to evolve further into our personal mindfulness practice and healing journey. So when judgments arise in the mind, we can practice simple observation of this mental tendency, labeling it as judgment, without proceeding into storytelling about why the judgment is right. So we start to practice through meditation what we call witness mind, so that when we step off the mat, we're actually able to practice this witness mind of observing thoughts and emotions. So whether we realize it or not, judgments are a way of declaring ourselves either right or wrong. And if we can move past the notion of rightness and wrongdoing, of kind of black and white thinking, we can sit more attentively to our direct experience that could indicate why this judgment is arising in the first place. So once we become more mindful of all the ways we judge ourselves and others, we can practice letting go of these ideas. So through these guided meditations on releasing judgment, or through quiet meditation, we can start to slowly soften our firmly rooted ideas of what is right or wrong, good or bad. So beneath our judgments, there is often some form of pain, some unhealed wound, maybe a trauma from our family of origin, whether strong or subtle, that feels somehow protected when it can hide behind the veil of judgment. So begin to quietly tune in to the truth behind the judgment is a way of naturally beginning to let go of inflexible ideas and stories, right? Our core wound and our trauma stories that we hold on to so deeply. So we can also practice letting go of judgment by tuning into our senses, right? That's why we use things like essential oils and Palo Santo and sage and resin. By connecting with the present moment through the breath or through our sensation, it reminds us of what is real in the moment. And we find ourselves better able to witness whatever is happening in the mind from a neutral space. So when we are deeply connected to the present moment, our firm ideas and judgmental storytelling is unable to hang around for long and clarity arises. So I just want you to, again, take a moment. I'm going to give you about a minute or two just to have a quiet moment, and then we're going to start to move the body. So again, coming to that intention of letting go of judgment, that sankalpa. So just take a moment here again to tune into grounding the nervous system, taking this moment of self-care and letting go of any toxic thought patterns, any judgment, any inner critic, letting go of the perfectionist, letting go of the inner taskmaster telling us that we're doing too much or we don't do enough, rather, and then we push ourselves into burnout. That it's okay to be still, it's okay to just be, and practice what we call in mindfulness, non-striving or non-doing, to just be. To let go of the imposter syndrome, of who do we think we are, to step into our purpose, and to let go of the conformist, of comparing ourselves to others. That we are beautifully imperfect and unique exactly the way we are. We are not broken. We are a beautiful masterpiece, a beautiful mixture of strengths and weaknesses, and owning all of it and loving ourselves, all of it. Unconditionally loving ourselves. No judgment. Speaking to ourselves kindly, speaking to ourselves gently, speaking to ourselves without judgment. Come back to deepening the breath, getting ready to start to move. Let's just start to simply inhale and exhale and twist. So inhaling and exhaling and twisting. Inhale, exhale, and twist. Nice and easy here as we get started. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Let's start to bring our hands out in front here. As far as you can go, maybe you do tiger paws here with the palms of or the tips of the fingers, maybe the palms face down. Just breathe into this space. Start to walk yourself to the right side. And then plant the right hand and reach the opposite arm up. So we're opening the left side body. The right elbow can start to bend and come down to as far as the floor if you choose. or the elbow can stay slightly bent and just opening up a full left side body. I want you to imagine just planting the sit bones here, grounding yourself, plugging yourself in here. And again, if you've not let us know you're here, please let us know in the comments when you get a chance. Walk over back to center. Whichever foot you have in front, I want you to switch it. If you're in an easy seat. And then again, walk yourself out to center. Tiger pause is the fingertips. Release the head. Or you can put the palms facing down. Maybe walk yourself out a little bit further. When you're ready, walk yourself to the left. Again, plant the left hand. The elbow can be slightly bent. Some of you will be able to bend that bottom elbow, come the whole way down to the ground, or maybe bend even further. Maybe the elbow doesn't come the whole way down, but maybe you start to open up. I just want you to tune into the body, respect and honor the body. What does the body need here this morning? Sometimes we have more strength, sometimes more balance, sometimes more flexibility, sometimes we need to push ourselves, and sometimes we need to be more gentle. So exhale, let's curve the back, seated cats and cow. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Beautiful. Let's move to a tabletop position. Do a few cats and cows here. I'm going to start to really move. So inhale, open, heart open the chest. Exhale into cat. Inhale into cow. Exhale into cat. Warming up the spine here. Inhale. And then let's just start to circle the hips. Circle one direction, other direction. If this feels good to you, you can either come down to a Sphinx pose onto the elbows here, or you can choose a modified cobra here. So again, you can be here in cobra, you can come down to the elbows into Sphinx pose. So find what your back is calling for here. This feels really good to me, but this may be too much for you. So find what works for you. Release. And then we're going to exhale, come to tabletop, and then child's pose. So child's pose, the knees can come out to the edges of the mat, or they can be together here and bring the hands behind. This is restorative child's pose. Or again, you can bring the knees out and then come down. Now we're touching the forehead to the mat. And what that does is it sends a signal to the nervous system that you are safe. So this is a great pose for you to use anytime at home. So come down to child's pose. So with that, let's start to really move. So we're going to come up into our first downward facing dog. So push up into downward facing dog. If this does not feel comfortable to you, then you can choose to be in a tabletop position. So feel free, if you would like, to modify anything that I do. You can always do any of the warrior poses that we're doing. Actually, everything can be done on your knees if you're not able to stand. So again, come to your downward facing dog or your tabletop position. Spread all 10 fingers. Start to walk out your feet, maybe if that feels good to you, walking your dog. Bring the belly button into the spine. We're going to start to practice what we call Ujjayi breath, and this is sealing the lips and breathing in and out of the nose. So again, all 10 fingers are spread, belly comes into the spine, maybe you come up to the tippy toes, maybe you walk your dog. So we're going to come up to the tippy toes, inhale, look up, and exhale, hopper step to the top of the mat. Inhale, lengthen, half lift. Exhale, fold. Knees can be slightly bent. Rolling up one vertebrae at a time. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, hands to heart center. Take a moment for a mini Shavasana here, where you start to tune in to your breath. Good morning, Patricia from Colorado. Stephanie, again, let us know that you guys are here and where you're joining from. Trying to fix my view here so you guys can see me. Okay. All right, so at the top of the mat, here we go. Finishing our Sun A. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, press the hands and step back to the top of a plank, or you can be in a tabletop here. So again, you don't need to do a full plank or a full vinyasa. You can actually choose to step back into downward facing dog. So if any of this does not feel comfortable to you, again, feel free to take what your body needs and you can step into downward facing dog. So here we go. We're coming into a modified cobra or a sphinx pose. Again, for what your body calls for. If you choose to do a full vinyasa, chaturanga, upward facing, downward facing, and that's in your practice, feel free to do that. And push back up to tabletop or downward facing dog. Beautiful. Take 3 breaths. Inhale, look up. Exhale, hopper step. Inhale, lengthen, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, slowly rise up, one vertebrae at a time. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, hands to heart center. Now, if you choose, you can lift the arms and open the heart. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant the hands. Again, take your version of vinyasa here. Inhale, upward facing or sphinx pose. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take 3 breaths. 3 breaths. Here we go. One more time. Inhale, look up. Exhale, hopper step. Inhale, lengthen, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, slowly rise up, one vertebrae at a time. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, hands to heart center. Then you can open the heart here if this was good to you. Last time, inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant the hands. Again, take your vinyasa or step into downward facing dog. Your form of vinyasa can simply be tabletop to sphinx pose to tabletop and downward facing dog. You can skip it altogether. And those of you that have an advanced practice, you know how to take your vinyasa.
Inhale the right leg, three-legged dog. Exhale, bend the knee and open the hip. Again, you can do this on your knees as well. Inhale, three-legged. Exhale, step through low lunge. Bring the back knee down. And inhale, kneeling crescent. So the hands can come back here. This is opening the heart space. The hands can come up in wisdom seal, opening here. You can reach the hands up. You can clasp the hands and open the shoulders. So I want you to find what your body is calling for this morning and breathe into that space. Beautiful. Exhale, plant the hands straight in the front leg. Half split. Exhale, plant the left hand, reach the opposite arm up. Kneeling dragonfly twist. Exhale, plant the top hand, step back. Again, find your vinyasa, or you can choose to step into downward facing dog. Once you're at downward facing dog, take a breath. Again, we're sealing the lips, Ujjayi breath. Inhale the left leg, three-legged dog. Exhale, bend the knee and open the hip. Again, be done on the knees. Inhale, three-legged. Exhale, step through low lunge. Back knee comes down. Inhale into kneeling crescent. Again, the arms can be open, opening the heart and the shoulders. Elbows can be bent and raised into wisdom seal, also opening the heart. You can raise the hands. You can clasp the hands and open the shoulders. This is also a heart opener because our heart chakra is not just in the front of our body, it's between our shoulder blades. And so when we have something that's stuck in the body, in our heart, for example, if we have a broken heart or have something we need to heal in our heart, oftentimes we don't just physically hurt in our heart, but we'll get tightness behind our shoulder blades. Straighten the front leg, half split. Your version. You can use a block here if you would like. You always grab a block for this. Exhale, bend the front knee, plant the right hand, reach the opposite arm up. Kneeling dragonfly twist. Exhale, plant the hand. Find your vinyasa. Come back to downward facing dog. We're going to take this through one more time. This is our sun B. I've modified this to make it shorter. We normally would go through this 3 times, so I'm going to do it twice because of time. Inhale the right leg, three-legged dog. Exhale, bend the knee and open the hip. Inhale, three-legged. Exhale, step through low lunge. Back knee comes down. Inhale, open the heart. Again, arms can be out, arms can be up. You can have the elbows bent with wisdom seal. All of these opening the heart space. Opening and stretching the left hip flexor, the front right hip. We're warming up the hips here. And eventually move into our beautiful pigeon pose. Exhale, plant the left hand, opposite arm reaches. Kneeling crescent. Some of you might be able to bend that back knee and grab the foot. This is not in your practice. Do not do this. But if it is in your practice, again, you can open the shoulders here, release. Plant the hand, find your vinyasa. Come to downward facing dog. 3 Ujjayi breaths. You should feel the fire, the Agni, starting to build. Inhale the left leg, three-legged dog. Exhale, bend the knee, open the hip. Inhale, three-legged. Exhale, step through. Back knee comes down last time. Kneeling, crescent. Find that opening. Again, you can clasp the hands. You can open the hands at the side. You can bring the arms up. You can bend the elbows, wisdom seal. Any of these will open the heart. This side, we're opening the right hip flexor. We're opening the left front hip. Breathe into that space. Honor where the body is. Exhale, plant the right hand. Reach the opposite arm up. Kneeling dragonfly twist. You can stay right here only if this is in your practice. For those teachers, if this is in their practice, you can bend the back knee and grab the foot. This is not in your practice. Do not try this. This is opening the quadricep, hamstring. This is more of an advanced practice. Exhale, release, step back, find your vinyasa. Take 3 Ujjayi breaths. 3 Ujjayi breaths. Here we go. We're going to move into Sun C. This is our last flow sequence, and then we'll move into Yin and Shavasana. Inhale the right leg, three-legged dog. Exhale, step through low lunge. Now this time, I want you to pivot and plant the back foot and slowly rise up into warrior one. So find your warrior one. Again, arms can be up, arms can be at heart center if that bothers your shoulders. You can also create a kind of a shield here where you point your fingers and clasp the hands. Think about this as a sword. Exhale, bring the hands to heart center. Get your feet ready for warrior two. Exhale, come out into warrior two. Straighten the front leg. Inhale, star pose. Exhale, warrior two. 2 more times. Inhale, star. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, star. Exhale, warrior two. Straighten the front leg. Reach the front arm up. Reverse your triangle. The back hand can come down the leg. We're opening up the whole front side body. Beautiful. Reach the front arm out and down. Again, you can use a block here if you choose. And we're reaching up through the left side body in triangle pose. Always pulling up through the side, no matter if your hand is at your knee or the whole way down to the mat. And then exhale, we're going to walk ourselves to the long side of the mat. We're going to do a standing forward fold. Now, if you have a block, you can use a block to place your head on the block, or you can start to grab the ankles. You can grab the peace fingers, wrap around the big toes. You can clasp the hands, opening the shoulders. That's a more advanced practice. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. You also can place the hands, bring the hands through, again, if that's part of your practice. We are sealing the lips here. Ujjayi breath. Again, sealing the lips, breathing in and out of the nose. Inhale, lengthen, bending the front knee. Planting the left hand, reaching the opposite arm up. The back knee can come down. Come back to that kneeling crescent, kneeling dragonfly twist. You've been here before. Exhale, plant the hand. Find your vinyasa. Again, you also can step into downward facing dog. Last time through, we're going to do this on the left side, and then we'll move into yin pose. So here we go. Inhale the left leg, three-legged dog. Exhale, step through the lunge. Pivot and plant. Find your warrior one foot on that back foot and slowly rise up into warrior one. Again, you can bring the palms together. You can bring the palms to the heart. So find that, and I can see some people are joining. So thank you. As you join, let us know you're here. If you can quickly just put your name in the comments so we can see you and where you're joining us from. Exhale, bring the hands to the heart. Find your warrior two. Here we go. So warrior two. Beautiful. Straighten the front leg. Start pose. Exhale into warrior two. We'll do this 2 more times. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Beautiful. Straighten the front leg. Reach the front arm up. Reverse your triangle. Feel the whole front side body open. Exhale, reach out and down. Pull up through the left side body. Again, this is where you can grab a block for the bottom. You're pulling up through the right side body. Again, your bottom hand can be the whole way to the ground or up to your knee. As long as you're pulling up through the right side body. Exhale, plant the top hand. Walk yourself to the long side of the mat. This is our last wide standing forward fold. So again, you can grab the outside ankles. You can grab the toes with the peace fingers. You can clasp the hands behind if this is a more advanced practice of opening the shoulder. Anytime we're in an inversion like this, when our head is below our heart, this is actually an inversion. So you don't have to be in a headstand. You don't have to be in a handstand to actually do an inversion. So here we go. You can also walk your hands through the middle if that you choose. I have seen people use a block to rest their head. So go ahead and release. This is our last standing forward fold. Bend the front knee, plant the right hand, reach the opposite arm up, dragonfly twist. Exhale, plant the hand. This is our last vinyasa here. You can take it or you can come to child's pose. You can come to downward facing dog. I invite you to just sit on the heels for a moment. Just reconnect to your breath, reconnect to your intention. Breathe into the space. What does that look like for you? Letting go of judgment, tuning into unconditional self-love. You should definitely feel a shift. Feel a shift in energy, feel a shift in mood. Breathe into that space. Now, I invite you, we're going to move into yin and then to our final shavasana. So what I'm going to invite you to do for yin is pigeon pose. Now, if you have gentle knees, if you have any issues around your knees, I would suggest that instead you do this on your back. Let me show you what that looks like. So let me move this. So I'm going to come back to seated. If you have gentle knees, you want to come to your back, cross the right over the left, and hold here, okay? So this is a figure 4 on your back. This is an option for pigeon. If, however, you don't have an issue with knees, you can come from a tabletop or from a downward facing dog.
You can use a block or a blanket on your right hip. You may not even need it. You bend the right knee, take that leg across. The back leg is in a half split. Okay. You inhale, lengthen, and again, if your right hip is not square with the left, then again, you can take a blanket, you can place it underneath, you can take a block. Some people actually need a block. It really depends on how far down your hips go. So just find what your body is calling for here. You can stay here. You also can take a bolster or a meditation pillow or a blanket and rest your elbows this way, or you can come the whole way to the ground. So coming to the ground, again, if this feels good to you, is here and completely releasing. So I'm going to give you some time in this pose and just know that we hold a lot of stress and emotions in our hips. So just know that you're going to probably feel that release and just breathe into that. Breathe into that release. Just find this moment of getting into what is needed in the hips.
The rain is pouring down like all the souls you sent here, coming to this earth to find healing. Mother Earth takes in the rain, like your heart takes my voice. Let us free each other with our prayers, with our voice. And come, and come, and come, and come.
So ever so slowly and gently. If you are in that figure 4, I want you to place both feet on the mat and windshield wiper the knees back and forth. If you are in a pigeon pose, you can come to a tabletop position, or you can come back up into downward facing dog, and you bend the knee and circle the hip. So again, you can do this in downward facing dog. Feels really good if you open the hip this way, the way we did in the flow. Starts to open the psoas and the hip flexor more in the hip, or you can do it again from tabletop this way. Getting the blood circulation back in the hip. And when you're ready, you're going to do the same on the left side. So again, if you're in the figure 4 on your back, place the left knee over the right. If you have any kind of gentle knees, you do not want to do a pigeon pose. So again, taking the left knee, or left knee to the left wrist. Back leg is in a half split. Again, we're straightening the back leg. You want to square off the hips. Find an opening on this side. Each side is different. So this side might be looser, it might be tighter. Again, you find if you have a blanket or a block, if you need it, just square off the hips. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, come to the elbows. Again, you can use a blanket or a bolster, meditation pillow like I have, or on the elbows, or you can come the whole way down to the mat. So find where you can completely release here. Again, our hips are like junk drawers. We hold a lot of stress and emotion in our hips, and in our shoulders are two of the most common, probably the hips more than anything. If you find yourself with tight hips, you probably have some kind of emotion or trauma or stress that is stuck in your hips. So just sink in here. And God took all of me. Every imperfection. God took all of me. And every day, God lives and breathes through me. Looking in the mirror, I love you, sweet God.
Oh, my beloved, kindness of the heart, breath of life. Oh, I bow to you. Divine teacher, beloved friend, I bow to you. I bow to you again and again. Noticing on the water, beyond time and space. This is your, this is your grace. Oh, this is your way. This is your way. Just sing this with me. This is your way. This is your way. Every breath I take, this is your way. This is your way. Every word I speak, this is your way. This is your way. Every tear I shed, this is your way. So ever so slowly and gently coming up to a tabletop position. Again, if you're in that figure four, plant the feet, windshield wiper the knees, come to a tabletop position or up into downward facing dog and circle the hip. Get the blood circulation back. And this feels so good, like what we did in our flow and Sun B. You can do this in tabletop. So we're going to move into our final Shavasana and then close out the practice. So we're going to do a final Shavasana, and we're going to do about 5 minutes, and then we'll close out the practice. Normally, when I'm doing these classes, oftentimes I will do a longer extended Shavasana, but because we're a little bit over on time, I'm going to shorten it to 5 minutes. So if you have a blanket, I want you to grab your blanket. So this is the time
for you to just take like a minute and get yourself together so you can really enjoy this final Shavasana, and then we'll close out the practice. So if you have a bolster, if you don't, it's perfectly fine. If you do, you can grab a bolster and you can put this bolster under your knees. If you have an eye pillow at home, if you don't, again, it's okay. You're going to use this to cover the eyes. You can use a meditation pillow. I have a pranayama pillow like this, or a blanket underneath your head to support your head. Or you can also, if you have an extra blanket, you can place the blanket over yourself, okay? So this is a way to seal in the prana, seal in the life force, and it also, from an anxiety perspective, from a stress perspective, it further calms the nervous system for you, okay? So that's the science behind why we put on a blanket. Again, if you don't have one, it's perfectly fine. You can buy a Mexican blanket like this on Amazon, on yogaoutlet.com, lots of places to buy these blankets for $10 or $20. Okay, so find your spot, find your Shavasana. I'm going to set the timer here, and you've got just 5 minutes of rest. You always want to close out your practice with Shavasana. You don't want to skip Shavasana. This is a way to seal in your practice, and a lot of teachers tell us that this is actually the hardest pose in the entire practice because you are sitting still, and sitting still is the hardest part of your practice. So again, just close the eyes or have a soft gaze. More like close the eyes.
You start to wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes, start to come back into the space. Roll over to the left side for a moment of gratitude. Just kind of curl up. Take a moment of rest. Then when you're ready, ever so slowly and gently coming up to a comfortable seat, we leave the eyes closed or having a soft gaze. And eyes are closed or having a soft gaze. So coming back to our intention, our sankalpa of letting go of judgment. Our only way to practice mindfulness of non-judgment is authentically from a place of non-judgment. Feeling shame or guilt for our human tendency to judge the world around us does not help us to overcome this habit, in Sanskrit, this samskara pattern. So there's nothing wrong with us judging, but it is still worthwhile to explore if we wish to further evolve our mindfulness practice and our healing journey. So when judgments arise in the mind, we can practice simple observation of this mental tendency, labeling it as judgment, without proceeding into storytelling about why our judgment is right, or not proceeding into our trauma story or into the stories of limiting beliefs and inner critic voice that we tell ourselves. So whether we realize it or not, judgments are a way of declaring ourselves or another being right or wrong. If we can move past this notion of rightness and wrongdoing, of right and wrong, we can sit more attentively in our direct experience, and that could indicate why this judgment is arising in the first place. So again, we invite you to release your inner critic, to release your perfectionist, to release and let go your taskmaster inner critic, to release and let go the imposter syndrome, to release and let go of the conformist, of that need to compare ourselves to others, and that we are perfectly imperfect exactly as we are, a beautiful masterpiece, a beautiful, unique, one-of-a-kind masterpiece. Bring our hands to our forehead for positive and peaceful thoughts, to our mouth for kind words, and to our heart for love and compassion for ourselves and for others. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be free from suffering. Amen and namaste. So you should feel super zen for the rest of the day. And sorry I went a little bit over. It's hard to get all that in 60 minutes of a guided meditation, breath work, the flow, the yin, and everything. So I want to give you kudos again for taking this time for this Mother's Day weekend, whether you are a mother, whether you are a daughter, whether you're a grandmother, whether you are a fur baby mom, a stepmom, a friend with a maternal instinct, any type of mother. I want to give you kudos. We are all mothers in our own way, right? Like I said, if you're not a biological mom, you might be a stepmom, or maybe you are just a mothering, maternal person giving love to your friends or your coworkers or your peers. And so I want to invite you, if you're hearing this, if you're watching this, or if you are watching the replay, that one more time, we are opening up the challenge that's going to happen on Monday. So if you have not registered yet, I invite you to do that. Again, it's healinnercritic.com. It's free. It's for 5 days. So for all of you beautiful ladies that joined us, thank you, Stephanie, Stephanie and Patricia, and all of you that are on here live. This is the page. So it's
healinginnercritic.com. Makes it nice and easy. Healinnercritic.com. And again, we're going to start Monday at noon Eastern time. And if you are not able to join us live, it's okay. You can still register and get the replay. Now, if you're able to join us every day, or you're able to join us even 2 or 3 days a week, you can't join the whole time, still join us live, because we're going to be doing guided meditations like what we did today. We're going to be doing breath work. I'm going to be doing a mini lesson on each inner critic, and we're going to be doing working sessions. I'm going to take you through shadow work, soul work, thought monitoring exercises, journaling exercises. So this is meant to be interactive. Okay. That's what a challenge is, where you're actually doing the work. And next Saturday, the 14th, I'm going to be doing another yoga class like this. So mark your calendar for next Saturday, 10 a.m. I will be back on here again. Okay. All right. So again, for everyone that joined here, I am so, so, so grateful that you carved out your time to actually be on here with us live. So thank you. And I know everybody is super busy, so thank you for doing that. And thank yourself for spending this time for self-care. So namaste. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, a beautiful rest of your weekend, and sending you all so much love, light, and blessing. And I can't wait to see you next Saturday, or hopefully in the challenge this week. I'm so excited for it. All right, we'll talk to you soon. Have a beautiful day.